Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF. Bava Metzia, Membeis. We are right on top at the Mishnah. Hamafkid Mois, Eitzel Chaveri. If a fellow leaves his money with his friend to watch, Saruran, so the fellow wrapped it in something, Vivshilon Nachirav, and slung it behind him. So it's hanging behind his back in this case or pouch. Or this fellow handed it to his young son or daughter, so underage kids, to look after it. He closed the door, but he didn't do it, properly secured. He didn't, lock the door. And in all these situations, the item got stolen or whatever, chayav. So the shomer is responsible. You know why? He did not employ standard security procedures, and therefore he's liable. But if he secured it properly and then something happened, it got stolen, he is exempt. Asks the Gemara. That first case, so he put it in some sort of case, some sort of pouch, and hung it over himself. What's wrong with that? I understand in the other cases he gave it to the young kids. Okay, that's not responsible. But in the first case, where you slung it behind him, what better, system could he have done? Meaning, it was right on him. Harit Savardan, says Rashi. It was wrapped, it was securely wrapped. Amar Rava, Amar Yitzchak, Amar Kra, the pasuk says you have to keep your eye on the money. V'tzarta hakesef biyadecha. This is by Maser Sheni. Right? V'tzarta. Wrap it up, but that's not enough. If you hang it behind you, somebody could sneak up and steal it. Biyadecha. Needs to be in your hands. Even if it's wrapped, you biyadecha. Keep it in your hands. Keep your eye on the money. And that's the proper way of Shemira. V'amar Yitzchak. A person should look that his money should always be accessible to him. Rashi says, as opposed to leaving it in a different town under someone's care. And the problem is because Shem Tizdamalu Schore, says Rashi in the third line, if he encounters some sort of imminent business opportunity, some profitable opportunity, he should have the money available to proceed. So better have it accessible in your account, checks at the ready. And we learn from a pasuk. You have it in your hands. Here comes some more investment advice. A person should look to split up his money. A third of it should be invested in real estate, according to one pshat in the Maharsha. The other pshat is it should be buried in the ground, safe and secure. A third should be invested in merchandise. And the remaining third, keep handy, just in case some really lucrative business opportunity arises. Interestingly, Rav Moshe Feinstein, Igros Moshe, assails the fact that in his time, it must have been during some sort of crash, market crash, real estate or stocks. And he says, look, Rabbi Yisai, if only we would follow the advice of the Gemara, don't put all your eggs in one basket, invest all your money in real shlish bib karka, shlish bib karka. This is sound investment advice. Diversify your portfolio to ensure the maximum bracha, the least chance of failure and the maximum chance of success. V'amar b'yitzchak, ein bracha matsuya. If a person wants bracha, it's only to be found in something hidden. El b'davar hasomim min ayin, it's out of the eye's reach. Shanamar yitzav Hashem itchas habracha basomecha. Rashi says basomecha means davar hasomim min ayin, something hidden. Tznius, einacha yafa min tznius. And the Mepharshim explained that the eye carries with it all kinds of powers, ayin hara, etc. So something that's beyond the reach of the eye. And the Teres Chaim explains, specifically when it comes to bracha, Hashem doesn't typically do open miracles, right? So when something is not in the open, something is samim min ha'ayin, then the bracha doesn't necessarily have to be an open miracle, right? So there's more chance of Hashem infusing the items or the business venture with blessing, with prosperity. Here comes another version of this idea. Tanat v'Rabbi Shmuel, ein bracha Metzia el b'davar she'eina ayin shaletas boi. And the Tosfos Rush explains that the point here is it's based on the Gemara in Pesachim Daf Nun. When things are big and grand, people tend to wonder, and jealousy can kick in, in terms of your success. So it can't be grand and overbearing and too impressive. Davar she'ein ha'ayin shaletas by, something which isn't, which goes typically, basically unnoticed. That's when more brachas to be found. Shenamar yitzav Hashem itchos habracha ba'asamecha. Once again, the same idea. Bracha in hidden things. Tana Rabban, hoylech lamed is gurnai. A person approaches his granary. He's going to measure the content of his granary. He makes a yiratzna tefillah to Hashem. Hashem should infuse it with blessing and prosperity. Oime yiratzim lefanecha Hashem lekeinu shetishlach bracha b'mas yadeinu. He's expecting Hashem to actually increase the quantity of what he's about to measure. He's about to his chalamed, when he begins to measure, when he begins to take stock, before he finishes, while he's in the process. Omer Baruch Hashalech Bracha, and some bring the Rashi in Maseches Tanis that it's with Hashem's name. Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. Hashalech Bracha b'kri hazeh. Hashem who infuses the kri, this granary, this pile, with bracha. But it has to be before he finished taking stock. Modad v'achakach birach. He decided to make the bracha after he completed the accounting. Harizet tefillah shav. It's a worthless tefillah because it's too late. Now it's already been measured and counted. Levishe'ena bracha metzuya lo b'davar shakol. Bracha is only to be found if it's not yet been weighed. Lo b'davar moded, not in something which has been measured. Lo b'davar money, something which has been counted. Elo b'davar samim ayin, rather something which is unknown, hidden. Shenamar yitzav Hashem itcha es habracha b'samecha. Once it's quantified, it is what it is. Omar Shmuel, if a person was entrusted with money, you have to really guard it properly, in the ground. Ksafim ein lehem shmira ela b'karka, deep in the ground. Omar Rav, and Rashi points out that in fact, if he didn't do that, he's responsible if in fact the item is stolen. It's considered negligence. So, in the ground only. Omar Rav, Shmuel, even Shmuel would allow be'er Shabbos min hashmashos. Let's say he got it right before Shabbos. Rabban did not obligate him to, at that rushed juncture to go ahead and dig and bury the item. So he still has till Motzai Shabbos to do that. But come Motzai Shabbos, he waited around with enough time to bury it v'lo kabrinu, and he failed to do so. Machayev, and now if something happens, he's responsible. But there's one exception to this rule. Let's say he's a Talmud Chacham, meaning the owner of this money. So the Nifkad, the Shemer, is delaying until tomorrow morning because he figures maybe he needs this for Avdallah. Savar Dilmim Boile Zuzil Avdalta. Perhaps this Talmud Chacham, as Rashi says, is a Makbid, is Choreid al Mitzvahs Avdallah al Akais. He's very particular to make Avdallah on a kais of wine. And perhaps he's short some funds, and he's waiting for him to come, perhaps take back his money. So he'll wait until tomorrow morning. Okay, this idea of implanting the money in the ground is good for the early days, but later on, there was an increase in Gishur Shai, these tappers who would uncover hidden treasures. So in the ground isn't safe anymore. So the right place to hide it is up in the ceiling beams. But now that the experts moved up to the ceilings and they're tapping there, the only way to really hide it is between the bricks and the wall. And there's a girsa de Amar Rava, even Shmuel would agree that putting the money into the wall is a safe bet. But that has changed as well. But now that we have these wall tappers, looking for treasures in the walls. The only place is very close to the floor, or in the wall within a tefach of the ceiling, where it's difficult to discern hidden treasures. We have a Mishnah Maseches Pesachim as follows. We have chametz shenafla olav ma'poyos, which was buried beneath a pile of rubble. Do you have to go dig it up and burn it? No. Harei ukimavur, it's considered destroyed because it's inaccessible. Reb Shimon Gamliel Omer, you have to be careful that it's out of the reach of a dog. Kol she'ena kelev yochel lechapis achrav, has to be beyond the reach of a dog. How much is that? Betana kama chapis kelev, how deep does a dog reach? Gimel tvachim, it needs to be 3 tvachim. Beyond the reach of the right under that thing, so that the dog doesn't dig in and pull it out. Hachamai. So that's by chametz. What about when it comes to burying money? How deep is that going to be? Do we need to bury 3 tefachim in the ground? Or perhaps that depth is not necessary. Amalei says no. By chametz, it's a question of scent. The dog might discern the scent of the chametz and dig it up. So that's why it has to be beyond 3 tefachim, so that the scent is undiscernible. But here by money, it's just a question of getting it out of reach. It's just trying to hide it from the prowling eyes. 3 tefachim is not needed. How much is needed? You're good with a tefach in the ground. How Gavra, there was a fellow, the DAF, he took his money and gave it to his friend to watch. Usvinu, and the fellow placed the bitsrifa in a little hut, du'urbani, made of aravais. So typically, robbers don't look for money in these huts, but it is susceptible to fire because it's flammable. So what actually happened was that it didn't get burnt, but ignov, robbers did catch up to it and steal it. Amar Rav Yosef, afagav l'inin ganvi nitirusahi, although this location is considered secure with respect to robbers. They don't, think to find money there. But l'inyan nura, regarding fire, pshusahi, it's negligence because it's susceptible to fire. So in this case, it's called havat chilasa b'pshia. We consider it initiated with negligence. So the initiation was carelessness because it was exposed to fire. Although ultimately it was an accident, right? It was taken by robbers, which is something he didn't expect. But the fact is, what was it doing in that hut to begin with? Because the owner placed it there. Why did the shomer placed it there with carelessness, right? So he's chayav. There's another version of this halacha which goes the other way. Even though with respect to fire it is negligence, but since l'inyan ganvi into rusahi, since with respect to robbers, very little chance they're going to suspect it. It's considered safe and secure, out of the way. Although initially there was carelessness, but since the seifa ba'inus, ultimately it was burnt. It was robbed, it was stolen, which is considered technically an accident, an unanticipated event. So therefore he's exempt, he's pot. But the halacha is otherwise. Oh, Gavra, there was a fellow, the DAF, he placed his money with his friend. He comes back a year later, where's my money? I'm not sure where I put it. The Rabbi comes to Rabbi, he says, we don't give you time to look for it. A fellow who doesn't know where he put money, his friend's money, that's carelessness. Go pay up, zil shalit. Oh God, there was a fellow, the DAF, he gave his friend some money to watch. The fellow gave it to his mother to watch. And she placed it in a chest where she places her own money. And it was stolen. Amarava. What are the Dayanim going to do with this case? How are we going to deal with it? On the one hand, if we tell the son, the shomer, pay up, he'll say, what do you mean? Amar kala mafkid al das ishtei banavu mafkid. When a person accepts a deposit, you know when a person gives his friend something to watch, you know it's a family event, whether it's him or his mother, his father, his adult children. That's okay. He expects everybody to share the burden in guarding his item. So the fact that he gave it to his mother, that's fine, that's legal. Namely, the ime zili shlimi. Okay, so we'll approach the mother and obligate her to pay. Amar, she'll say, what do you mean? Well, Amar li the lavdi day ninu. Why would we obligate the mother? So Rashi says, because she didn't bury it, which is standard procedure for a pikadon, as we learned before. Why'd you put it in the chest? Well, she'll say, look, Amar li the lavdi day ninu. My son never told me that it wasn't his money. That brina which would compel me to bury it. Meaning, if he would have told me, I would have. But he didn't tell me, so I guarded it as I would my own. Okay, so we'll go to his son and put the blame on him. Namely, why didn't you tell your mother whose money it was? Omar, he'll say, if anything, I had my friend's interests in mind. Certainly, I figured if I tell her, if she thinks it's mine, it's famous darable. If anything, she'll guard it even better, her son's money. So basically, everybody had an answer and an excuse. What do we do now? Elam Rava, rather, says Rava Mishtabe Iu Dahanu Zuzi Ashlimin Ime. So firstly, the son will have to make a shvuah. He'll swear that he gave the money to his mother. That was the money that he gave to his mother. Umishtabe Ime, and the mother in turn will swear Dahanu Zuzi Svinu Mekartelisa Vignu, that this money that was given to her was placed in the chest and it was stolen upater. And everybody all around is pater. Here comes another story. Ahu Apatrupa. There was a caretaker, the Yasmi of orphans, the Zavan Lu Tura Yasmi. He purchased an ox for the benefit of the orphans, and he gave it to the shepherd to take care of. Problem is, he had no teeth, the animal. He didn't have back teeth, front teeth, to eat. Ultimately, no teeth, no food. He dies. Who's responsible? How are the Dayanim going to approach this case? On the one hand, should we obligate the caretaker who purchased the animal to pay the Yisayimim? Amar, he'll claim, I'm not an animal expert, I gave it to the shepherd to look after. He should have noticed that it had no teeth. Namely, the Bakr Zil Shlim. Okay, we'll put the blame on the shepherd, go pay. Amar, he'll say, well, I placed it together with the other animals, I had no clue. I placed food in front of him and the other animals. I had no clue he wasn't eating. So everybody's shifting the blame. Now we're stuck. What do we do? Michti says, well, let's analyze this further. Bakra, so this shepherd, right? He's getting paid for his work, right? Shemer Sachar di Yasmihu. He's like a Shemer Sachar because he's getting paid for his job. A person getting paid has to live up to his obligations. He should have paid attention, pay close attention to all his animals, including this one. So why isn't he responsible? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Well, it says the Gemara, you could say that the Yasmi, if, in fact, the Yisayimim would be experiencing a loss here, of course, it would make sense to obligate the shepherd to compensate them. But the thing is that they're not really losing anything, because they're getting their money back. They're being refunded by the animal seller. My Skinner was speaking the Lekab, say that the Yasmi, the Yisayimim aren't losing a penny. They track down the former owner of this animal, the Yasmi got their money back from him. So they're safe and sound. So who's complaining here? I mean, they're okay, so who's complaining? The owner, the animal seller, is complaining. What is he saying? He's saying, well, he should have, the shepherd should have told us that he's not eating. What do you mean he should have? You're the owner, you know your animals. What do you mean tell you? May the yada, you know that it's the mekachto, so this thing was a mistaken transaction, meaning you understand that your animal had this condition. What are you complaining about? Well, says the more not necessarily, because he wasn't really an owner, he was just an agent. B'safsira, he's like an agent, a wholesaler, right? The zavan mehacha, masbel lahacha. He buys from this farmer and sells to the other farmer. So basically, he never really laid his eyes on this animal. He never really examined the animal. Never studied this animal. So now everybody's yelling at each other. He wants his money back. So what's the maskana? What's the conclusion? So on the one hand, we compel the agent to swear that he wasn't familiar with this animal. He wasn't aware of the fact that this animal that he barely had, for half a day, had this condition. So now he's putting the blame on the shepherd, and the shepherd has to pay up. Umishal and bakra, but not full. You see, as Tesis explains, in any case, the agent would have had to sell shech this animal very quickly before he dies. And he would have shechted it, anytime, right? Off season, he would have just shechted and sold it for whatever he could make, which is typically at about a 60% a 33% discount, and that's what the shepherd has to pay him for that loss. He has to pay him a relatively low compensation rate for this for the meat that he lost out due to the animal's death. Plus, he has to pay him for the skin as well. Says the Gemara, there was a fellow that afkid kishusa gabe chaver. This fellow deposited kishusa. Kishusa is a certain plant, hops, an ingredient with which you make beer. Okay, so he put his beer material with his friend. The day Nami carried the kishusa. Now his friend had his own pile of this hops. So this fellow now turned to his butler. Mahai Rami, could you make me some beer from this? And he pointed to his supply, his own supply, not the stuff he got from his friend. The butler had no clue, and he took the stuff that belonged to the mafkid, to the owner. Amar of Amram. So now, the question is, who's responsible? Heichi nidainu daini lahidina. What are the dayanim going to do with this? We're stuck. Namely, the day zil shlim. Shall we tell the shomer, right? Reuven had given his stuff to Shimon, and Shimon had his own stuff as well. Shimon turned to Levi the butler, make me beer, who used Reuven's stuff instead of Shimon. So should we turn to Shimon and say, pay up? Now, why is he paying? I mean, he's benefiting from it. So what's the issue? The Gemara soon will discuss that. So he's going to respond with a big no. Amar, he says, look, I'm relay Mahai Rami. I told my butler to use this, not the other one. So I'm exempt. You can't hold me responsible. Okay, Nebel says, should we obligate the butler, the shliach, to pay? Amar will say, well, you know what? True, he asked me to use this one, but he didn't tell me not the other one. I figured he was just, showing me, he was just advising me, but it wasn't, conclusive. It wasn't makbid on this one and not on that one. I had no idea the other one belonged to the stranger. Well, Yamar lima hay rami. He didn't tell me to use this, not to use the other one. Well, you know what? V'ida shah sure. Now, how long did it take for him to come back with the hops? So the Gemara is assuming, let's say, that Shimon's own material was sitting right around the bend, a minute away, right, the next room, and the deposited hops belonging to Reuven was sitting three rooms away, down the hall. Now, how long did it take for the shliach to come back? Let's say it took him more than a minute to come back, which is more than enough time to go to the next room and bring back Shimon's material. So what does that tell us about his destination? If it took him 10 minutes, apparently he went to the garage and took the other ones. So that pretty much shows us that Shimon is aware, acknowledges, and is accepting of the fact that he's using Reuven's stuff. Well, but no, it didn't take him longer. So again, he has no idea if he took from this barrel, from this basket or that basket. Well, it says, okay, what's the big deal? At the end of the day, might say the Ika, who's losing anything? The fact is, Shimon has now, has some tasty beer. So let him be fair and compensate Reuven for the ingredients. We're speaking that the beer turned into, it soured. Got spoiled. Okay? Hichmet, says Rashi, it turned sour. So now he's not interested in paying Reuven for his things because he didn't have any benefit from it. Rav Ashi Amar Bekisi. Another possibility is that the kishrus that was used, right, the material that was used was poor quality material, full of thorns, right, which is typically used for animal feed. And that was put into his beer. He's not interested in this type of low quality beer. Right? So therefore, says the Gemara, so according to this situation, if we take on this pshat, Allah is he's going to have to pay him to make kisi. According to what he did have, benefit that he did have, right? Whatever the inferior ingredient, whatever benefit he had, whatever it did for him, that's what he pays. But actually, interesting, Tosfos says it's not the actual value, because when it's used for animal feed, it's worth more. But now that it was mixed into his beer, he's not giving him that much. He's not going to pay him for the full value. He's only going to pay him as much as his beer is worth, which isn't very much. Okay, so bottom line, We learn how to safeguard money deep in the ground, or up in the ceiling, or whatever. We learned about sound investment advice, which incidentally, by the way, the Gemara speaks about splitting it up, a third. There's a ritva, a beautiful ritva. He says that it's based on a pasuk. The pasuk in Dvarim Chav Ches, pasuk Ches. Listen to this. Yitzav Hashem itchas habrocha basamecha, right? Ubechol mishlach yadecha, ubiracha ba'aretz asher Hashem alikecha nishan lach. Says the ritva, basamecha means it's in your possession, meaning a third of the money should be accessible. Ubechol mishlach yadecha, that's parkimatya, that's merchandise that you purchase for profit. And the word ba'aretz is karka, is a real estate investment. So if we split our money 3 ways, liquid funds, merchandise, right, and real estate, that covers all the bases and brings bracha in from all directions. Amen. And then we continue discussing different cases of chilas or pshia v'seifa ba'ines, a story with the mother with the chest, a story with the animal without the teeth, and the soured beer. All the best to you and Hatzlacha.